Okay, so season 4 starts out with episode 1. It's called Challenge of the Super Friends, and honestly, it's a big bang to start off a new season, especially with all the imaginary friends, not all of them, I mean just Wilt, Eduardo, Coco, and Frankie, off in the city to save an imaginary friend.
The city is in turmoil.
Now, you'll know this creator, Craig McCracken, also created the Powerpuff Girls, and honestly, you could tell, especially with this, he almost alludes to it a bunch of different times. Starting with the narrator at the very beginning, Tom Kenny, it already gives us the vibe that it's going to be more of a superhero episode, which is kind of fun. So they're trying to save this giant imaginary friend, which is actually pretty threatening. Course thinks he's too good for this all and decides to jump in to save himself, which actually causes way more problems. I mean, Mac warned him. They're interrupted to be saved by this guy named Imaginary Man, which is like a superhero with the red, white, and blue getup, and it's really cool.
Awesome-rific!
We're not usually in the city in Foster's home, so it's cool that we actually get to see it this time. Everybody celebrates Imaginary Man as he takes down the monster, and even Max specifically is very impressed with him.
Oh! Gimmick thief! Wow!
And Blue starts getting a little bit jealous. Blue's whole focus through this episode is trying to get this tree house built. Him and Mac are supposed to work on it, and you know Blue, every time he has a project, he just insists on doing it, and there is nothing that can get in his way. Except this time, Mac gets too enthralled with Imaginary Man and starts going with him on all these adventures.
Look, I know you're new to Foster's and everything, but for future reference, you should know. Mac's my best friend, and right now, he's supposed to be picking out tiles for the master bath.
It's cool because he has his own nemesis, which also feels like a Powerpuff Girls villain, this girl with really nice hair.
It's Imaginary Man's oldest and most reviled archenemy.
Uh-huh. And just how do you know that?
Yeah, that's like her whole weapon is her hair, and I love that. Mac is in the middle of it, and he is just having the time of his life. It's like such a cool action sequence. We learn that Imaginary Man's kryptonite is essentially these flowers. They're too girly and they destroy him. And he thinks Mac is like a prophet just because he's unable to be affected by them, even though they're like just flowers.
What?
How did you withstand that onslaught of pansies?
What, these?
Meanwhile, Blue is chasing him everywhere, trying to get him to help build this treehouse. Inevitably, Mac ends up taking over the treehouse with the Imaginary Man and continues their escapades, with Blue getting even more jealous. Blue eventually is like, I need to become a superhero just to get Mac's attention back.
I'll become the greatest superhero the world has ever known!
He ends up taking the entire dinner table cloth with Eduardo attached to it, and I think this is so funny. I can't believe he brings Eduardo with him everywhere. And he just insists he's a superhero, showing up to the next Imaginary Man and Evil Woman confrontation. He ruins the entire thing, pretty much, with his distracting ways, and even the B is backwards. I don't even know what his outfit is. It is red, white, and blue like Imaginary Man, but blue is actually blue, so I don't really know where that categorizes. He ends up being left behind, and Mac and Imaginary Man get away, and this woman ends up recruiting Blue. Oh my gosh. So Blue becomes this evil unicorn that actually looks like Darth Vader, but is a unicorn, I guess? Yeah, and Eduardo just watches from above.
Imaginary friend, or as many have called her imaginary fiend nemesis, and her small crony, the mysterious masked unicorn, seem to have declared war on all of boykind.
They start turning everybody around town into super girly versions of themselves, which might be a feminist issue, I'm not sure, take it up with them. And Blue is left to help take down Imaginary Man.
No more adorable and sweet and precious. Such indirectness is not useful in the eradication of our enemies. Your plans are no longer acceptable. I will no longer accept the plans that you plan. From now on, we go forward with the plans that I plan and the ones that I plan on planning.
Why are all the lights out?
Frankie, we're busy making nefarious plot!
Which is so funny because Frankie is like interrupting them. They have like their meetings at the house and it's like ridiculous. So they finally take down Imaginary Man, all with the help of Bloo, getting Mac also tied up. And it's like hard to believe that Bloo is causing this much trouble, but you know, it is pretty funny.
Blue? How?
I find it hard to believe that Mac doesn't realize who Bloo is this entire time, but hey, it is funny. Meanwhile, Mac is trying to come up with his whole catchphrase this entire episode just to fit in with Imaginary Man, and that part's really funny too.
What you talking about? And knowing is half the battle. Hey, hey, hey! Jinkies! Zoinks!
We learn later that it's a brother and sister that ended up imagining these two friends, Imaginary Man and the villain, which is actually really cute to think that their imagination took them to that length.
That's no way to treat your sister.
Or your brother.
Oh, we're cousins.
Even so, that's not proper behavior.
The big plot twist is that this nemesis is his sister, and that's what brings Bloo and Mac back together by the end, which I was not expecting, but at least we got like a happy ending. All around a very, very strong start. I wasn't expecting all the Powerpuff Girls references, but it's so impressive that they made it work so well, and despite the fact they never really have action-based episodes, this one was doing a really good job, especially how funny it is. I mean, Eduardo was my favorite part, but yeah, let's keep going. The next episode we have of Foster's is called The Big Picture, and it's actually really fun. It's kind of a mystery thriller episode, I would say, but more so the concept of everybody in the house getting together for this group picture, which reminds me a lot of like picture day at school. It's very sweet. They took one every year throughout this house, and it's tradition. It's everybody has their own relationship with this picture being taken, and for some reason, this is Mac and Blue's first year, despite the fact being season 4. I guess they just haven't been here long enough despite Christmas, and you know, I'm not gonna harp on it, okay?
Head back, chin up, bend at the knees. And don't forget to smile. I said smile!
Of course, they have to have a really complicated and intricate way to do all this, considering there's that many friends in the house, which I don't even believe this is possible. Like, how do they get everybody in this entire house? Everybody kind of has an issue with this picture taking place. Eduardo is insecure about how he looks, so Duchess gives him a bunch of tips, which you do not see coming.
Beauty is pain, darling. Now, let's see if we can remove some of that old dead skin.
Wilt has an issue because he can't be seen on camera because of how tall he is, and Mr. Harriman does not want to put him a little bit higher, and he's not allowed to even duck down, which I do not understand. This rabbit goes way too far with his rules. And poor Coco this episode, basically one of the friends calls her fat, so the entire episode she's just insecure about it and doesn't even want to be involved in the picture, which Coco doesn't deserve this much disrespect, honestly. Just because she can't speak the same language everybody else is, I feel like everybody goes hard on her.
I'm sorry, Miss Coco, but the house photo is always at 6. I cannot postpone simply so you may lose 5 pounds.
So Mac and Bloo end up seeing this whole picture book of all the friends. There's this Where's Waldo imaginary friend that's essentially just a meme and ruins every picture with a prank every year. And it's kind of cool the way it goes down. They end up finding a very disturbing image at the end where the picture is supposed to be normal, but it turns out there's no friends there. And Madam Foster and Frankie are just looking there scared. And honestly, it becomes a huge mystery that they have to solve. And Bloo has some like insane theories, like
Madam Foster was so racked with grief that she made robots of all of them.
Frankie doesn't end up wanting to tell them what's going on. She thinks it's a trick, only leading them to be more suspicious. It kind of reminds me of the Scribble episode when Bloo opens the door and releases the scribbles. That feels a lot like this tone. They ask Mr. Harriman, Madam Foster, and everybody seems to be getting offended. Oh my god, it's such a big deal that nobody expects. Bloo has a bunch of theories on how this could have been done, like it's a major prank by that meme Where's Waldo guy, which I like. I like that we have a character that's never talking or even in the episode having so much of an effect on all the friends. Like, you don't expect that. Eduardo is being fed Ozempic and getting face surgery by Duchess, which you don't expect. And it's honestly, that's one of my favorite side plots in this whole show. Mac ends up putting his suggestion in here.
They were all really bad matches.
You furry.
too short.
Too happy.
Mandy from Billy and Mandy on the screen. Like, I did not expect that cameo. The best parts of this episode is all the theories that Bloo comes up with time and time again, and they only get funnier.
Come with me. The past. It is in trouble.
So a team went back in time to King Arthur's court. Except when they got there, they were taken captive. But Will, he convinced everyone he was a great wizard because he knew from the history books there was going to be an eclipse.
Blue? What does any of this have to do with the picture?
Nothing, why?
Mac pretty much insists he knows what's going on, that everybody just happened to get the time wrong, and it becomes the most logical solution, so Mac just goes with it. Blue's upset because it's not interesting enough of a story, so he's kind of upset about it.
But that's boring!
Sorry, Blue. It's what happened.
And he's like begging to find out a real reason that this could have happened. Later, when everybody's trying to get ready for the picture, somehow each of their problems come with a solution. Like, Eduardo ends up just sneezing out all of Duchess's plastic surgery. Goo comes in for the picture, which is really sweet. And yeah, everybody's finally putting their insecurities behind them.
I'm in the picture.
But Blue notices a key detail in the image, finally. It turns out there's a whole lever on the side of the staircase, which is crazy. Right when they're about to take the picture, it ends up happening once again. Blue pulls the final meme prank, and everybody suffers, and the picture is horrible once again.
That's what happened.
Yeah, that's it.
Which I don't know how that's a happy ending, but at least we got this mystery solved. I genuinely was really interested in figuring out what this was. I could not have guessed this is how it would have ended, but it's still cool having an episode that, like, tricks you for this long and has fun while doing it. I really like this one.
It's hot. It's hot. It's hot and it's hot and it's hot in Topeka. Topeka.
The next episode, I would say, is probably the most boring in this whole series, but then again, this series is really good, so a testament to how imaginative these writers get. So, Squeeze the Day is about Blue being home alone. He wakes up at Foster's, and there is nobody there. And I love an episode where we could focus a little bit more about the house around them than necessarily the characters. It always brings out some interesting plot lines.
Wait a minute. Never leave, Steve, never leaves. Where is everybody?
Because of how minimal things have been going on in this episode, I have trouble pinpointing the theme or what they're trying to get across, but it is kind of funny. It reminds me of the episode of SpongeBob where all of his friends left for the entire episode and he was just alone in the town. That could be kind of a boring episode concept, and, you know, being storyboard driven, that wasn't super fun, but I feel like Foster's does it a little bit better, honestly. We learn pretty quickly that Harriman, Frankie, and everybody else were at the beach, and they purposely left him behind because they didn't want him to meddle with them, which honestly makes sense. This guy cannot be contained. So without the mystery of everybody leaving, it's just Blue having a good time. He starts watching the Weather Channel of all things and is just so bored. Growing up, this was always my favorite joke when Blue is talking about how it's hot in Topeka. Do you guys remember this?
It's hot. Hot, hot. Hot, hot, hot. Hot. Hot, 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 hot. It's hot in Topeka.
I love this part. I never realized how long this goes on. Like, the jokes in this show are so well timed that they just go on so long. Blue's just trying to seize the day and have a good time. Maybe that's what it's about, seizing the day. He ends up getting rug burned by sliding down the carpet and
Hot, 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 hot. It's hot in Topeka.
yeah, he doesn't have a lot of fun on his own until Max shows up and joins him on the festivities. Nobody's here, so they get the whole place to themselves. They see it as an opportunity to try to figure out the best things they could possibly do. I feel like this episode is like about time anxiety and how there's so much pressure to fit a lot of fun within a single day of activities. And I don't know, that's kind of a cool concept to me. Despite all the fun they're having, they have more stress about doing stuff than actually doing it. They watch like a drama where Blue gets emotional, and honestly, I did not see that coming. They want to devote their entire day to pulling this one small, simple prank where they put the bucket on top of the door, which they did in Drake and Josh, if you could remember. That's really fun. funny. Then they just pig out and eat a bunch of food, only to realize that this is not how you should be spending your day alone. Like, they only have so much time.
But no! What do you want me to do? Dump it on myself?
Climb out the window so you come in the right way.
Oh my god, they end up breaking the elevator and dropping millions of feet below, and I'm not sure if you guys have this nightmare, but I've seen this in my dreams, and I could feel the elevator falling. It is so stressful. They go all the way to the top of the staircase and try to surf down with this board. I love the idea of, like, surfing on staircases. Did you guys do that when you were younger? Because maybe I took it from this show, and I did not remember this until now. They use the picture frame of Madame Foster only to break it at the very end. They end up finding a map that actually leads to treasure. Blue keeps harping on this throughout the whole episode. He's like, I want to find treasure. And Mac is only giving it a chance now because they found a map. It's really cool that they actually get something to do, but when they find out that it's just Uncle Pocket's treasure, which, if you remember from the Uncle Pocket's episode, it's such a random continuity detail, but thank God the writers were on top of it. It's so impressive. Yeah, Blue and Mac end up freaking out knowing that everybody's about to come home, and they didn't make the most of their day. Oh no! So they try to have an entire day's worth of fun within like 5 minutes, and you know what? It is not fun.
I don't care, just something awesome that we're not allowed to do! Play ball in the house! This is boring!
I cannot imagine this being a good time. Everybody ends up coming home early from the trip. Turns out Wilt ruined it this time, which can't be fair. That's probably why he runs away by the end of the season. Spoiler alert. And Frankie just tells Mac to live life to the fullest, and honestly, it looks like it scars him even more. They end up just in front of the TV, both watching the Weather Channel, and that's how it ends. Honestly, a very relevant episode that I feel like applies to us now more than ever. Like, this is so topical to try to seize the day, and Mac and Blue epically failing is probably half the fun.
Babies, you have children?
64!
Yes, 64.
Or is called Neighbor Pains, and it's cool because they actually bring back the whole adopt-a-thon tradition. If you can recall from the other retrospectives, it's the day where all the friends get to meet the different kids that want to have imaginary friends, and they have a bunch of adoptions that day. So it's actually really important for fosters to have a successful one of these. This time, we have Goo involved, and this is the episode that solidifies her for me because she's not just like a silly character that makes up imaginary friends randomly and just kind of is an inconvenience like in other shows. Like, she was made to have friends meet other families, and that's so cool for her because it just makes her a three-dimensional character. Blue has to stay in the house because he can't be adopted, and I like that that continuity is kept intact. It's so perfect. He feels extra left out because everybody's having such a good time and getting adopted, and he just doesn't understand why he can't go outside.
Why does everyone else get to be outside except me?
Because you are not the one up for adoption because you already belong to Senior Mac.
You got an answer for everything, don't you? What's the capital of Pittsburgh?
Potatoes.
Leave me.
This has been like the 5th adoption day he's involved in, and he still doesn't realize it. He sees a little kid across the street. Blue ends up trying to face off with him, ends up bothering him so much that he ditches his bedroom, runs through Adopt-a-thon, and right toward the next door neighbor's house. Frankie stops him, and that's when we learn that they actually have beef at Foster's with the next door neighbor. And that's why the episode title Neighbor Pains comes in. It turns out Madame Foster and this old man keep fighting, and this old man is like 2 steps away from calling the police and essentially ruining adoption day, which would be really sad because all these friends need to have homes, but at least the stakes are a lot higher than you would expect. Blue is so focused on paying back this kid that he keeps involving himself with the neighbors, like fully getting into a paper fight, which is so ridiculous.
If you need to throw something, maybe I could get you something else, like a ball or anything else, really.
You imaginaries, cut that out! Cut it out!
Keep firing, boys!
It goes too far when Blue ends up using all the adoption papers to aggravate the neighbor. The plot kicks in when we learn that all these adoption papers are thrown at this old man's house, and the only way to get them back is to probably go in there, which Blue needs help to do. So he enlists Wilt to help him dress up as Orlando Bloom, which I cannot believe is coming back out of all characters, and Eduardo is just trying to stall. Goo is kind of the main antagonist in this because it's the first time we're doing an adopt-a-thon her way, and she has a great way of getting all these guys adopted. So a lot of stakes going on in this episode. episode, honestly.
And you listen to me with extra special hearing because there is a system in place to make Adopt a Thought Saturday run super, super smooth and super, super fast. And the system works because I know because I made it. Except it's not working super, super smooth and super, super fast because you're not giving them the adoption forms. So, give them the adoption forms!
Mac finally shows up, kind of upset that Blue did Orlando Blue without him. And he decides to help Blue get these papers back. Goo and Mr. Harriman get into an altercation when Mr. Harriman is just so sick of all these new rules when he wants the old rules. I don't understand this rabbit. He should be happy about all this. Mac has a plan to go in and actually meet up with the kid. Blue will sneak out of his backpack and get all the papers. But one problem, Mac ends up getting too angry at this kid because this kid is just provoking everybody and starts hitting him with dirt. So this old man basically kicks Mac out and Blue is alone in this house with the old man, so he is in trouble. Goo finally picks up on what's going on and that all the papers are in the house, so she helps by prank calling the old man and getting him out of the room long enough for Blue to steal the papers back. Yes, so finally, when they get all the adoption papers back, the people start to calm down, which, by the way, it is once the old man finds out that Blue was in his house, he ends up calling the police, which actually is going to ruin the Foster's event. Luckily, Blue, turns out one of the papers he took is a love letter to Madam Foster. Ooh, embarrassing.
I love you more than my refrigerator's automatic defroster.
I love you the most,
Madam Foster.
So him and Mac end up using this as blackmail to get this old man off the phone, and yeah, it's just so weird that this guy has a crush on Madam Foster the way they fought, but hey, I guess it's fair. I don't know why he would want to get Foster shut down, because wouldn't that mean she left? I don't know, there's not a lot of sense in this, but at least we get Orlando Blue again, and poor Eduardo at the middle of all of this. Another good Adopt-a-thon episode. I can't believe how many plot lines are really good in this show that could be repeated.
Thanks, Governor.
And in the end, Madam Foster and this old man have a little confrontation, but it doesn't go anywhere. They just end up staying enemies, and that's the end of that. We never see this guy ever again. The end. The next episode is one of my favorites. It's called Infernal Slumber, and this entire episode feels just like a comedy sketch. It starts out in Mac's house, and honestly, it takes place completely in Mac's house. Blue sneaks in, wakes up Mac, and is like, let's have a slumber party. And it's like, why in the world would you just...
How'd you get in here?
Stole the house key from your backpack and made a copy. Why?
It's 1 a.m.
He tries to kick him out until he learns that Blue brought Wilt and Eduardo with them, only to leave out Coco because it's a guy's sleepover. Yeah, and this is probably Blue at his worst. He is so inconsiderate about this whole ordeal. Like, he doesn't understand that Mac could be not allowed back to Foster's because of this if they get caught.
If my mom catches you here, I'll get in so much trouble. Why? Because I was supposed to give you up. Because she said I was too old for you. That's the whole reason you went to live at Foster's, remember?
Not really.
And I don't know why he doesn't get that by this point. Like, we've dealt with these stakes way earlier in this show, and Blue just is blatantly choosing to ignore them. Not really cool, Blue. They basically insist on staying, and Mac is trying to rationalize the whole thing. I feel so bad for Mac in this moment, because he has school in the morning. If his mom finds out, he's screwed, and yeah, it's just everybody has their own thing going on. Wilt starts cleaning up the house, which I can't believe that's what he finds fun.
But I need to scrub hard if I'm gonna get these clean.
Then don't clean them.
I couldn't do that. They're pretty dirty. Ooh, not that it's your mom's fault. She works so hard. I'm sure she'd get to them if she could.
Eduardo starts taking pictures to create memories, and they just try to have a good time. Mac only asks that they just be quiet, but it doesn't end up working. In fact, it gets worse because Blue actually starts to prank Terrence, Mac's brother, which is even worse than the mom, like, honestly. With all this stuff going on in the house, it's a miracle that this woman is still sleeping. I can't believe it. The Blue even tries to prank the mom, which is so ridiculous. Like, that is crossing a line way more than anything else in this episode. Mac cannot set a boundary with any of these friends. He even yells to a point where Eduardo starts crying and they feel horrible. You think it's not gonna get worse until Coco and Goo show up, angry that they weren't invited to the sleepover.
Goo, that's not my door.
Will you speak up? I can't hear a thing you're saying.
bored. They're like throwing eggs at his house, Coco's eggs, and he invites all of them in. Oh gosh. So now he has to keep like 6 people quiet while his mom sleeps. It goes all throughout the night with Goo and Bloo getting into multiple disagreements because Bloo is just sexist and only wants the guys to hang out. Oh my god, Bloo. What a bad scenario for everybody. They play Truth or Dare, which is so funny because Goo is the one in charge of it, and they're all just having a good time.
You answered wrong, so you get dare. Go in the kitchen and get us snacks.
Goo, please.
It's okay, Senor Mac. I'll be muy quiet.
Meanwhile, Mac is still trying to keep things quiet throughout this whole episode, and they don't let it go. Like, it is so hard for them to keep down. They end up having a seance, which is even crazier. Apparently, there's ghosts in Mac's house. Next thing you know, Cheese, of all people, shows up, which, if you guys know me, I love Cheese. Cheese is one of my favorite characters, but you know what? In this scenario, it's horrible, because how in the world are they going to keep quiet with this insane person?
Shh. Okay, you can stay.
Here you go, buddy.
No! Chocolate milk!
I'm sorry, but that's what I gave you. I can add more syrup if you...
Chocolate milk! Chocolate milk!
He wants chocolate milk, but doesn't consider actual chocolate milk, so it's just whatever he wants it to be. I don't know. And you're just waiting for Mac to get in trouble at this point. Like, it goes off the rails. Next thing you know, Terrence actually wakes up, sees everybody, and you're like, okay, it's over. So they all just pretend to be super loopy and weird to make him think he is dreaming. And they end up tackling him. As they all fight, Mac has to keep his mom busy because she's trying to get up for a shower. He is running out of things to say to her, and you could just feel that he's screwed. Finally, Bloo comes in to tell Mac that they had a great time and they're finally ready to get out of his hair, which, oh my god, thank the Lord. But is he really, though? Because he said that throughout this episode multiple times. As all the friends leave, they realize that Eduardo actually left all the images he took that night on the front desk. Oh my gosh. So Mac is almost going to be screwed again as all the friends race back. When they can't get into the door, we find out that Mac does get away with everything.
It's okay, Senor Mac. We get them. See you tomorrow.
Oh my gosh. Mac realizes the only way they got the pictures is because they put a hole in his roof. Oh my lord. And that's how the whole episode ends, with a giant hole in Mac's apartment. Oh gosh. This is such a good episode though, because I just love everybody at their wackiest, and like, the jokes just escalate more and more. Cheese's presence is one of my favorite things throughout this whole show. And even Goo made me laugh a bunch of times. So I'm really opening up to this season of Fosters. I can't believe how one show could just get better and better after every season. Like, usually shows decline like this. But hey, if you want to see a good episode of Fosters, this is probably one of the best.
You'll never throw me a party again. You've humiliated me for the last time. You know why, Bloo? Because the party is over, and I win. Finally, I win.
Episode 6 of Season 4 is called I Only Have Surprise for You, and the next couple episodes are really pushing its limits with Bloo, honestly. This guy is selfish, inconsiderate, and it never goes further than when it does in these next 2 episodes. I consider this essentially like a Mac-related episode because it's all about him and how he's dealing with all of this. So basically, it's his birthday, and Bloo always surprises him, even though he doesn't want it. A bunch of imaginary friends go up to Bloo asking him about specifically birthday-related plans. Like, it's clear Bloo is planning a party, and he's just denying it right to Mac. Like, what a crazy liar. Mac ends up getting super paranoid because in the past, he's been really screwed over by Bloo. We even get a bunch of montages of, like, how he messed up with him. And yeah, that's definitely crossing a line. He goes to Mr. Harriman to get some help, I guess, and Mr. Harriman is like, there's no way a surprise would happen on my watch, but you know what? He does seem to be a part of it. So Mac starts to feel like he's actually getting ahead of Bloo with this whole surprise. Despite the fact that people around the house are still talking about a surprise party, it actually makes Mac more and more suspicious. He even takes Madame Foster's underwear and reveals them. Oh my gosh, Mac.
Afraid I'm going to see all the skin cream, denture cleaner, support hose.
Granny pennies?
Yeah, so he's going way too far. His paranoia only gets him to act crazier and crazier. Even when Wilt is hanging up decorations in the parlor, he's like, what the heck? Next thing you know, Goo shows up with a present, and yeah, how do you explain that, Bloo? Bloo looks really suspicious here, and you don't even know whose side you're on. Goo says she's here for Artie, which is just some random imaginary friend that just started existing, I guess, who keeps saying it's 4 years old.
Mailman, I'm 4 years old.
Which is so cute. I love this guy, and I can't believe he doesn't come back again. Mac later sees all the friends and Mr. Harriman conspiring in Mr. Harriman's office, and he's very convinced that they are planning a party for him. Oh my gosh, I'm on his side too. So he ends up dressing like a ninja, ready to take down everything they're planning. He ends up ruining the pizza, he ends up destroying all the decorations, and even tying up Goo, Coco, and then eventually Bloo. It's almost like a Survivor-like episode.
So I had to stop it. I had to. I never meant to hurt anyone.
Come here. Oh, stop. Two boys can hug.
And I don't know if I feel bad for Mac or am worried for him because he seems like he's driven to insanity. It's revealed that Bloo actually knew all this was going to happen, and Mr. Harriman is like, let's continue with this whole ordeal. And oh my gosh, so it's not even over. It's everything Bloo expected it to be. Jesus. Mac ends up hearing this once again, so he's just on top of them again. Oh my gosh. He ends up trashing the entire library where he hears that the party is. So finally, he is going to get ahead of this whole birthday thing, only to find out that it was actually Artie's birthday party. So turns out Goo wasn't even lying.
I didn't. I was 4 years old.
Oh my gosh, and he feels like such a horrible person because you only turned 4 once, and everybody starts hating Mac. Oh my gosh, so it gets really, really intense for him. I feel bad for this guy now. Bloo ends up turning on him too.
How could you, Mac? He was 4 years old today. 4 years old. I'm not throwing you a party.
Don't you think when you said that you could have also mentioned there was another totally different party going on?
Okay, maybe I could have made that an itsy bit clearer.
And it's just very frustrated, which is like, this is always not fair. Like, Mac always blows his lid, and then he has to pay for it. So he's like, let's throw Artie a whole birthday party to make up for his mistake. And that's really sweet. Him and Bloo work together to plan the ultimate perfect party. And it's really awesome. Mac ends up dressing like a clown just to surprise Artie. And right as he sees this party, Artie reveals that he's not even Artie.
Golly, Artie, what do you think?
I only have one thing to say.
He is Madame Foster, and this whole party was for Mac. Oh my gosh. So at the very last minute, it turns out Bloo was planning this entire thing. It went exactly as planned, and even both times where Mac overheard them planning, it just happened again. I don't even know how he did all this. Like, this is such a crazy episode, and only for Mac's torture does it really add up. As the audience member, like, you feel for Mac, and you're like, this is insane. And I've never had more fun than like all these twists and turns of this episode. It almost takes the picture day episode and makes it look even funnier. Like, I like this show a lot.
Hello? No, there's no Kathy here. I said there's no Kathy here. Oh, you're Kathy. Never heard of you.
Remember how I said Bloo is really messed up through these next couple episodes? Yeah, number 7, Bus the Two of Us, is also him being a giant jerk. It starts off with him and Frankie doing a bunch of chores, only for Bloo to be upset because apparently none of these chores were something he wanted to do. I don't even know why this guy volunteered to go.
Why would I pay to take the toll road when I can take the road I'm on for free? Oh, Frankie,
Everyone knows the best things in life aren't free.
He's obsessed with the toll road and being able to pay to go on another highway, which is so funny for him. And yeah, he's just disrespectful toward Frankie, he's inconsiderate about the fact she did all the work, and he realizes that she left the key in the bus. But he doesn't tell her, he just takes it upon himself to go for a little joyride. Oh my gosh.
Maybe just once more around the block. That was just practice.
Gosh, this is like my nightmare. I feel like before I learned how to drive, I was always having like scary dreams about having to be put behind the wheel, not know what I was doing, and you know, like being on the highway. That always freaked me out. And that's what this exact episode does to me. It almost feels like my nightmare come to life. And Bloo being so nonchalant and like almost not caring just makes it so frustrating for everybody involved.
But you can't even see over the steering wheel. How are you not crashing into other drivers?
Who says I'm not?
Bloo, we gotta get this back to Foster's now!
He ends up picking up Mac, who's just playing cars with his friends at school, and yeah, Bloo can't even see above the steering wheel when he's driving down the highway. This is like pushing Mac to the ultimate limit, because how in the world is he gonna get away with this? Mac is too young to drive, he can't even help the situation, so he is just a victim to Bloo's deadly crusade. They're about to kill people like multiple times, leading to these insane action sequences, and sometimes I'm just like, I want to go back to Foster's. I want a less stressful episode. He even gets enticed trying to street race him, which I did not see coming. Later, they find out that they are in the middle of nowhere and completely lost. Oh my gosh. The stakes get added when Eduardo finds out that they're having a mattress sale, and he's so insistent on wanting to get there right then and there, and that's actually pushing Frankie to like, get on the bus and take us there, which would actually get them caught. So Mac enlists Wilt to help them stall in time for them to get the bus back so Frankie doesn't see what's going on. And Wilt is scared of lying. It's so sweet how he like just can't look at another person and tell a lie. So he ends up trying to trick Eduardo into recounting his money, and everything just goes haywire.
Hey, Eduardo, what's with the piggy bank?
Didn't you hear? Prices are slashed. No money down. No interest until next year. I guaranteed best deal in town on new mattress. Why? Because he's loco!
Keeps finding a reason to get onto the bus. They get Coco to pretend to be sick, and that actually helps save time really well. When Eduardo realizes he can't go on the bus, he decides to go himself, which means he's just like that determined. Mr. Harriman ends up seeing that the bus isn't there, so they lock him in a closet and ask Goo to imagine another Mr. Harriman to stall for time.
So, what do you think, huh? Pretty good, huh?
But he's a badger.
Ah,
Mr. Harriman is a rabbit.
don't be ridiculous. Rabbits have floppy ears and big feet and fluffy tails and long whiskers and... Oh.
Meanwhile, Bloo and Mac have to go to the bathroom, so they go to a pizzeria, but they can't use the pizzeria bathroom because they're not working there, so both of them get jobs there. Don't know how realistic that is. With Mac and Bloo still going down the highway, they find themselves about to go through the toll zone, which is insane because Bloo wanted that all along. So annoying. Of course, Mac is like telling him not to do it because that would only cause more problems. And you know what? This gives me anxiety as a driver. Like, getting tolls paid is so important and you do not want to get a ticket. But right as they're about to throw enough money, you think like they're about to have it made, but then a cop starts following them.
Negative. Didn't go in.
Bloo hands the police officer Frankie's ID and tries to claim that he's her, which is just downright ridiculous.
I was a real heifer back then. Lost quite a bit of weight. And I got a new haircut. And I usually wear glasses.
Meanwhile, Wilt pretends to be Mr. Harriman, and that's not working out at all. So Goo comes in just to help stall as well. Turns out Bloo has been picking up passengers all throughout this bus ride, and it's crazy that he's getting away with this. I can't believe how long in this day they're probably gone with the bus before anybody's noticing, and Wilt must be doing a good job keeping it a secret because it's really going through. Goo imagines a Mr. Harriman wrong like 3 different times, and I think it's so funny using her as like collateral to have that happen. So later, Bloo and Mac and Goo come walking in, and Wilt is like, yes, finally, I could let this go.
Boy, am I glad to see you two. Foster's home for imaginary friends.
Okay, so it's gonna be a few more minutes.
Mac?
But we find out that these were also imaginary friends imagined by Goo, just to stall more time. Oh no, so they're screwed at this point. The one Blue speaks Japanese, and this Mac has like a crazy tongue, and I can't believe they came up with this. This is so funny. Blue tries to ditch Eduardo on the road as they're driving past him, but, you know, Mac actually talks him into helping him. So they get Eduardo, and then they go to the mattress store of all places. Oh my gosh. And then they have so much fun at the mattress store with Eduardo taking his sweet old time.
Lovely weather we've been having.
Would you be interested in a free sheet set?
Do you have something in pearl?
Mac is trying to get back to the house because this has gone way too long and everybody's going to get in trouble if they don't get home soon. But they end up making it. They finally get home. They make it look casual, as if they're not going to get in trouble. And you start to cheer for a second until you realize that everybody they hurt has followed them to Foster's. Yeah, so they are in big trouble. And that's how the episode ends, like literally with Blue getting in trouble and Mac fainting. I don't usually talk about the end credits scenes because they're always so fun. But this one has to be mentioned because it's just Frankie listing everything Blue did wrong.
Anything to say for yourself.
Mankyo ないのに運転した?
And then we find out that it's just the Japanese Blue. So regular Blue wasn't even here to get this speech. Can you imagine? Funny episode, funny time. But poor Mac, he's really getting the worst of it all.
Spider!
The next episode we have is episode 8, The Big Cheese, and we get a whole episode dedicated to cheese, which I am beyond excited for. I wonder if the writers had fun writing for him and were like, we have to make more episode plots about him because he's just such a good plot line.
Where are we going?
Well, I'm going to the store. You're going home, remember?
I like the fair.
He was barely in Season 3, unfortunately, but after his debut in Season 2, it seems like they're determined to bring him back. Cheese starts showing up at Foster's randomly, and he becomes a difficult time for everybody to take care of. It's almost like from his perspective, because he's the only character we see, which I am super pumped for.
Sting, 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 sting.
He's frustrating Frankie, Mac, and even showing up in the shower with Eduardo, which is so funny. Wilt tries to walk him out, but it doesn't work. They are just unable to let go of this kid. Being more and more difficult, even frustrating Mr. Harriman and ruining the entire place, Frankie's like, it's time to get a security lock. Which is insane to think that they didn't have this before, but okay, whatever. So Mr. Harriman and Frankie set this up, and Mr. Harriman is just such a jerk about it. He puts in a code that he cannot possibly remember and just moves on. I can't believe they're mad at Cheese when he's doing all this.
Therefore, the manufacturer suggests picking a code at random. Random, All right then.
Once they get everybody out of the house to teach them how to use the new code, they find out that they're all locked out. Oh my gosh. So yeah, the rest of the episode is just all the friends being locked out of the house and Mr. Harriman being so dumb. We learn pretty quickly that the only person who actually knew the code is Cheese. Oh my gosh, but Cheese won't give anybody a single answer, won't do anything to help.
Cheese knows the code! Let's get him! What? No! You're gonna freak him out!
So all the friends, and they scare the heck out of him, bringing him all the way back to Foster's, and they cannot get him to speak. He is just so terrified. And you feel bad for him. You're like, this poor guy did not ask to be a part of all this. But of course, they rely on him. Instead of getting a locksmith or anybody else, they rely on this crazy, crazy imaginary friend.
When the bell breaks, the cradle will fall.
Blue does not help the situation at all. He just antagonizes Cheese, which is not fair. And this guy just has so many tantrums. They tried a bunch of different things to get him to speak, like getting him food he wants, playing games with him, and he's just having the time of his life. I feel like this has got to be Cheese's actual best day ever. They pretend to eat fake stones, and he's super enthralled by this, only getting more and more hyper. This poor kid.
I want you to sing. The secret code to the security system! Yes! Take
Later, we get Goo into the picture, and we're hoping that Goo can talk to him and actually get the code from him, but he and Goo, and they just hang out. So Goo comes in, and you think that this whole thing is gonna get solved, but they end up just like turning it into a bunch of dance moves. At first, everybody thinks they're just being ridiculous, but then it turns out he's actually screeching the code of the alarm. So Frankie runs to the door and tries to copy everything he's doing. But Cheese refuses to keep going through with all the numbers until everybody starts playing along. Okay, so all the friends start doing exactly what Cheese does.
Just do it! Do whatever he wants!
It's like a Simon Says situation, and it just goes even worse than haywire, guys. Like, it is mud everywhere. He starts ruining the entire house, and it's just completely wrecked. Even the windows are broken, so what's the point of this whole thing? In the end, they still can't get it, and are stuck outside, and you know what? Like, this is just horrible.
You would only listen to one of the 1,000 times I told you! You don't live here! Go home! Cheese!
Hey, Frankie, I got that kid.
Nobody wins in this episode. They just try to look good with Cheese, and finally end the episode with a whole new security system, hoping they could finally keep him out. But you know what? They don't, because Cheese just plugs it in, and that's where the episode ends. All around, this is one of my favorite episodes, because, like, having Cheese be the main decider, and everybody relying on him to get a sure answer for the security code, like, that is just peak comedy. I love that he came up in the sleepover episode, and now he gets this whole one to himself. Like, Goo is such a good influence on him. Like, seeing them bounce off of each other is so comedic. And Bloo getting more frustrated, Mac trying to help out the whole situation. It just seems like it's just complete chaos for like 22 minutes.
Really? So there are more friends living in there? Well, why doesn't one come outside so I can meet them?
You wanna meet a friend?
Yeah.
Fine.
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 Next we have Blue's the Boss, and this is either a redeeming episode for him or just something that'll get you respecting him less. I definitely forgot about this episode growing up, but looking back, it's definitely one of the most underrated of all time for sure. We start with all the friends going on a rescue mission. Bloo basically warns everybody that there's a friend in danger, and even though he's the boy who cried wolf, they choose to believe him thanks to Madame Foster's positivity. So they go to save the friend, and yeah, they're on the news, everybody is super excited, and then Madame Foster gets all the credit because she opened the house. Like, honestly, she deserves all the credit. But of course, Bloo loves to get jealous. He thinks he's just unrecognized and like deserves more attention, which I don't agree with because of how little he does for other people. He just is so weird with this stuff. So Bloo tries to prove to Frankie that he's actually really good at doing things, so he waxes the entire front floor, only to cause damage with everybody in the house. It's actually so funny looking.
Hey, Blue!
Well, this is Blue signing off. I'm off to do more good deeds!
He sends in this to the news, which is so funny because he did this in another episode, and everybody just laughs at him and makes fun of him. Of course, he just gets even more frustrated that Madame Foster gets all the attention. So he's like, I'm gonna come up with a brand new idea that nobody's done before, and he's like making a house for imaginary friends. Out of boxes, mind you.
Now I will be able to help wayward strays from all walks of life.
You're joking, right?
No, Mac, it's no joke. Here at Blue's Foster's, I will be helping countless friends find new homes and providing a place where good deeds don't go unrecognized.
Mac knows this is for clout chasing immediately because of course it is. He just takes the Foster's logo and puts Bloo on top of it, which is so crazy. So not only is Bloo like selfish, he's also into plagiarism. He ends up creating a bunch of fake imaginary friends to seem like the house is full, and one is like this Muppet-looking purple guy. His name's Purple, as you can imagine. And a little shark guy, which is one of those shark things you'd get at Five Below that you move the handle and it makes the mouth go. And these characters seem like a one-off joke, but honestly, Bloo takes them through the rest of the episode as if they're characters. Meanwhile, it's raining, and everybody at Foster's is like, we should probably apologize to Bloo to get him to stop doing all this. So they go to his house and try to give him an award, but when he realizes it's for Madam Foster, he kicks them all out and is like, you guys are ungrateful, which is insane. He lives in this cardboard box outside, which cannot be saved, and then a little cat wanders in named Chuck, and Bloo names it Chuck, obviously, because like, why would that be a name for a cat?
Mac, let me introduce you to my new imaginary friend, Chuck.
Blue, that's a cat.
You're just jealous!
Jealous? Earth to Blue, you're out here with puppets and animals living in a cardboard box.
And it becomes his new best friend. He thinks it's an imaginary friend, which is so funny and actually relevant. And then Mac actually kind of points this out to him, making him even more angry. A family comes over to ask for one of the friends, and Bloo takes their business, giving them this kitty Chuck. Mac is like pretty angry because they gave away a pet instead of like an actual friend that might need a home, and of course that has to be a conflict of interest. And Bloo just was trying to prove himself, so of course he didn't think about it.
You've actually ruined the chance for a real friend to find a home.
Oh, yeah? Well, Slippy, stop pulling Slippy, let him... Raspberry!
Later, he gets really sad because obviously it was his best friend and he cared more about being right than helping him. So he, Purple, and this shark guy go rob this family's house to try to get Chuck back. And they have a whole dialogue together, and it's as if they're like all going in on this, when in reality, it's just Bloo talking to himself through 3 different characters. And when the family catches him, he's still just talking as these 3 characters. If anything, he gets into a fight with all these characters.
Well, at least I have here, Baldy!
That's it!
Should we do something?
I'm not sure.
You give up yet?
Guys, what about Chuck? I'll never surrender!
So he causes all this chaos with this perfectly fine family, and, you know, it just kind of ruins the whole day. Next thing you know, cops are showing up looking for Bloo, breaks their window, and leaves. Of course, Frankie, Coco, and Wilt are like, okay, of course. And they find him trying to save Chuck on the same piece of tree that they captured the first friend from.
I'm slipping!
Come now, Blue. I've got you.
And it's really sweet because obviously Bloo was trying to do a nice thing. He cares a lot about this cat. But all the drama he started with his own fake imaginary friends is just hilarious. He ends up giving Chuck back to the family, and then it turns out there's an original owner of Chuck, and his name is actually Chuck. Oh my god, that's like crazy that they call him that, and his name is actually Chuck. It's ridiculous. So Bloo gets really sad and misses Chuck, but he finds the perfect friend to go with this family. That actually looks like a cat, and it's the guy they rescued at the earlier episode. So this is kind of a win for Bloo. He's done his first positive thing since being in this house, and honestly, it's kind of sad to think about. He just runs in a circle, like high-fiving everybody, and then they just leave immediately. So funny.
I'm sorry, but that's really great.
See, we are the Blue.
I'm so proud.
Way to go, Blue.
Guys? Hey! That's it?
Then we have this post-credit scene, which I did not remember happening, where they actually question Purple.
We've been in here for 18 hours. You're looking at 20 years maximum unless you play ball. Now tell us, where is the shark?
Which is so insane that they take it so seriously. All around, one of the funniest episodes, definitely redeeming Bloo as a character. And yeah, this is crazy that I even like overlooked this. I wish I had seen this growing up. Episode number 10 is called Emancipation, Complication. If you guys don't know already, emancipation is when you like are legally separated from your parents. Kind of insane. And it's got this whole patriotic look to it, which you don't really get at first, but the episode makes it apparent. It starts out with Mac in his class taking a test. One of the other classmates are cheating by using a pen of Abraham Lincoln to get the answers, which is actually so creative. I think this guy needs points for it. He gets thrown into this closet that the teacher keeps all the confiscated items in, and he decides to have Bloo get taken away on purpose just so he could break out whatever's in that closet. So later, Bloo comes back with all the trinkets and stuff, and of course he personally didn't take the actual friends that needed help, which is insane. So Mac goes through himself and helps out these friends. There's a giant green ogre with this Abraham Lincoln pen, and he's essentially the voice of both characters.
Yesterday, and well, I just had to do something. Treating imaginary friends like that is just not right. I know this place. It's a home for imaginary friends. You can live there free from the tyranny of this closet.
Apparently the house has been having an overpopulation problem, having people sleep in the lobby, so it's really hard to bring in new friends. But Mac is a major advocate for them because they have nowhere else to go. Aww. So they decide to bring them in. Not only that, but Madame Foster needs help around the house, so she even asks him to be, like, their assistant or, like, executive of the house, which is so sweet. Madame Foster is such a kind, caring person. She announces it to everybody, and then the friends get super excited because things are about to change. Then we get a whole musical number talking about how we just need to market the friends better in order to get everybody sold.
We just have to change our approach.
Like how?
And that's the crazy thing. They're selling them in this episode. I didn't realize that they never had been sold before. Apparently, the Abraham Lincoln guy is introducing the money concept, and it turns out friends are just supposed to be adopted. So this isn't actually right. The next day, Mac realizes that all the friends were adopted for really disrespectful reasons. Like, Coco is working at a fast food joint. Wilt is adopted so he could just stand as the flag. It's like actually commentary on how people use people, and it's very horrible to watch.
When I get back, I expect to see that change box full!
She is so scary. No more, no more.
They yell at Frankie because of all the money issues, and Frankie is the most suspicious this whole time. She catches Abraham Lincoln and all his money and does not know what to do, which I don't know why she doesn't just go to Madame Foster right away, but okay. Mr. Harriman is essentially their butler, listening to everything they say, and meanwhile, Abraham Lincoln is trying to get Madame Foster to sign away the entire house, which she is super keen on doing, and it's clear that this is about to happen. However, we're interrupted when the lights go out, and they lock everybody that was opposing Abraham Lincoln into the closet, so they're essentially screwed, except for the fact Bloo is the only one who could save the day. Oh no, we are in for trouble.
I knew I could count on... Well, actually, I didn't. But you did it! You saved us, Bloo!
No! Batteries! Batteries! I gotta save my game! The entire fate of the galaxy lies in the balance!
So they bring in Bloo to stop the whole thing, but he's so focused on his little video game that he got from the teacher's closet earlier that he's like not even paying attention. Eventually, Abraham Lincoln bribes Bloo with batteries to finish his Game Boy, so he's essentially choosing between all of his friends and getting batteries.
No! I cannot sit back and let my friends be treated this way! Here.
For his game, which is insane because he chooses the batteries over it. Luckily, this isn't the end for everybody. Madame Foster overhears all of this and is basically able to not sign over the contract, so they don't end up taking over the whole house. And I cannot believe Bloo sold out his friends this quickly. This is like the non-redeeming qualities I'm talking about. So she ends up forcing Abraham Lincoln to give everybody their money back. Aww. And yeah, the episode ends on a very pleasant note with this guy not getting away with it. Bloo tries to bring up his own musical number at the end and it doesn't work out. And yeah, this one is just so fun.
So I can make money for the house.
I just like it for the musical number, honestly. Like, I feel like that is the best part, and I want to see more musical numbers in Foster's, especially since it's 4 seasons in at this point. Like, we could afford to get some games in. The last normal episode of this is called Make Believe It or Not, episode 11. The reason it's the last one is because 12 and 13 is Goodwill Hunting, you know, that TV special, so we're gonna save that for the finale. But this is the last normal episode, and it actually is about Goo this time, which is cool because, you know, she doesn't get that many episodes, but at least it's more than the friends this time. So one day at Foster's, Blue and Mac are just playing on their game when Goo comes to visit. Right when she gets there, the entire house loses electricity. And you guys, I hated when this happened when you were a kid. Like, if you didn't have your video games or, like, TV to watch, it seriously was a bore.
And I am the mortal enemy of all screaming space nut boogies!
I thought you didn't want to play.
Change my mind.
So Blue is like, let's play with our imaginations, which is something your parents would tell you to do, but Goo actually makes it sound really fun. Unfortunately, her problem is she keeps imagining up friends so they don't have homes and then they have to go live at Foster's. So that's her big issue. She tells them that she's actually worked through that and now won't do that anymore, which is actually really awesome. So everybody gets to play this imaginary game, and they're all imagining themselves as superheroes.
I am Lord Snotzack Super Meaty Beady Baron Von McNasty, unsavory leader of the vicious Space Nut Boogies. Tremble at my laser-powered robot arm of doom.
It's kind of scary because the pictures that they use to, like, illustrate their actual superpowers are so grossly graphic. Like, look at this. Everybody gets to make up their powers, and it just definitely reminds me of, like, coming up with rules on the spot that can counteract other people's rules, and it's, like, not fair sometimes. Goo and Mac and Blue get into a fight because they have a bunch of different armor that they keep making up that she's not able to beat.
Special anti-time freeze deodorant that makes... Yeah, but time...
And then we follow Goo into her home, which is kind of funny because, you never get to see this side of Goo's life. She's, like, really distraught that she can't figure out how to beat Mac and Blue in this imaginary game. And then the next morning she wakes up, turns out she imagined everything they played that day, and it's all brought to life.
Uh-oh.
Gosh. So yeah, then there's a bunch of villains that are trying to kill Mac and Blue because she lost this game, which I wish would happen every time I feel I was unfairly treated in a game. So these villains end up tying up Mac and Blue, and because Goo said that she was a major pop princess, they bring her on as if she's about to have a performance.
Goo? I'm pretty, and I like to twirl, and don't be mad at me, Mac. This is an accident.
So she tries to apologize, making all of the enemies even angrier at her, so she gets kicked out of the basement while they torture Mac and Blue. Oh my gosh. So she needs help from the rest of the house to try to break them out, and they don't really know what to do until she realizes they could just dress up Wilt as the head villain, since he was the head villain. I don't know why she didn't imagine him, but okay.
Sorry, but could you please release the prisoners? Please?
Deeper and more commanding.
By the order of the heinous Lord Snotzax, I demand that you pathetic slugs release the prisoners now, or I shall devour your souls! Sorry, is that okay?
So he goes in and comes out, and he's still, like, apologizing like normal Wilt, but he's, like, embarrassed because he can't stop the evil people. He's like, oh, I need to help them because it's one of their birthdays, and I'm, like, laughing. Goo has a brilliant idea to get Mac and Blue to just assume their imaginary superhero roles, and they'll have access to all of their weaponry and everything they were talking about earlier, which, as you can remember, they beat Goo, so you'll know that this will come out correct. Once Mac and Blue are able to come up with this confidence, all of the imagination stuff starts to work. And it's cool because it separates imaginary friends from imagination in a very unique way. And of course, Blue and Wilt have to duel, which is so funny. And yeah, Blue keeps insisting that he's not just a sidekick, and that's his whole thing this episode. He's, like, very important on that reputation. Meanwhile, Eduardo is the one to inevitably stop all these villains by creating all this good food. And I can't believe that's even how it ends.
Mine is caterpillars and cheese.
Mine is knuckleberries and sneeze.
Mine's chocolate banana screen.
It is?
They reward Eduardo being in charge of everybody, and the whole episode is solved. I was not expecting that happening at all. So yeah, that's Make Believe It or Not, and it's really cute to have an episode that really focuses on the foundation of what makes Foster's so good. Goodwill Hunting, I'm very nostalgic for because I remember them having that whole marathon before leading up to it, and then watching it back again in 2025, it was just as heartwarming as I remembered, if not more impressive. We start with this really cute event, imaginary friends and their creator. Apparently, once every 5 years, they all get together again, and talk about good old times. We meet Nina, who is a cop, actually giving Frankie a ticket, which is going to be a long-running gag throughout this special, and I'm excited to see it again. So she's Eduardo's creator, and it's so cute the way they connect to each other immediately. Like, it explains so much about Eduardo right off the bat. We get a brief glimpse into everybody else's pairings of imaginary friends, and everything makes a lot more sense than it ever has in this Foster's home. Bloo is kind of snotty because he's saying that Mac is selfish for not waiting 5 years to see him.
You completely deny me the thrill of a reunion that everybody else at Foster's gets to have every 5 years!
And it's like, come on, Bloo, Mac can never win in this scenario. And Coco's creators are these two nerds that are like scientific, and apparently they didn't actually imagine her, they discovered her in the forest. A really cute backstory. This reminds me a lot of the Camp Lazlo special when they take us back to the origins of the characters. Like, it's not necessary, but it definitely adds a lot of emotional depth when I'm watching this unfold. Well, everybody is so happy and chummy, meeting their creators, reuniting. Wilt is acting twitchy, dodging every question about his creator. Apparently something's going on here, something's sketchy, and I'm excited because that leaves me to wanting more. He has that episode where it's like him unable to say no to anything, and that was definitely such a good episode. It was so character driven, and it definitely gives us a sense of who he is. He overgives to other people to the point of his own discretion, and it was just such a good episode. I'm so glad they took this specific character to expand further, because not only is he funny, he's relatable, and when we add another backstory, it's just so interesting to watch. Immediately, we feel super bad for him after this event because he doesn't relate to anybody because he's been abandoned. That night, Bloo wakes up really late to find Wilt on the phone.
But you hoped you never hear from me again, didn't you? It's time we set things straight once and for all.
He's saying a bunch of really vague things that give us the assumption he's doing something really sketchy or wrong, and he actually packs his bag and leaves through the door. Bloo is too groggy to understand what Wilt is doing, so he goes back to sleep. The next morning, all our main characters are checking around the room, trying to find clues as to why he would have left. He even took his toothbrush. Now you know it's real. They immediately go to Nina, Eduardo's creator, because she seems to be a cop. She must have investigated things before. They try to follow the bus route that he could have possibly taken, and Nina keeps giving Frankie tickets.
Wilt would really appreciate it. Oh, what's this?
Even Coco's creators are along for the ride as they jump into Foster's bus on the way to find Wilt. I love that there's this random assortment of old characters and new characters with a connection to each other, so it's not like a bunch of strangers. We find Wilt at the train station being all sad until he finds a little imaginary friend that's left on its own. He says everything wants to belong to someone, and we feel really bad for him. I can see why they made the connection to Goodwill Hunting, because it is about this really optimistic character that gets taken advantage of by people. I think there's no better reference to make with this. Wilt hears murmuring at the train station and ends up finding this really cute pink little imaginary friend all abandoned in this broom closet. So he vows to take it home, which, Wilt, aren't you on an adventure right now? Bloo looks over at one of Coco creator's laptops and apparently he's on a dating site, which is already inappropriate, bro.
That's a website on how to pick up women!
Frankie's lost, and everybody drives into the night looking for Wilt. Wilt escorts his cute little imaginary friend back to its home, something that he really needed, and it's really depressing because he gets to see them all have a moment of reconnection, knowing that he has not had that, and his creator is still off somewhere, and we've yet to figure out why. I like that there's this mystery of we don't really know what's going on with Wilt, we just follow his adventures and slowly get a little piece of what's been going on throughout each interaction. Especially this next part. He's waiting at a train station in a deserted area when he finds a farmer that is too old and weak to clean up all these haystacks himself. Wilt, being the guy who can't really say no, decides to start helping him. He ends up using his basketball skills to start throwing all the hay into the hay machine, I'm not sure what it really is, as he tells the backstory of his creator.
Yeah, you see, my boy, that is, the boy who created me, he had this older brother, and his brother was awesome at basketball, and I mean awesome. And well,
this is the first time we actually get a glimpse into hearing about the creator, which is really fun as he's helping this old man clean up.
He figured he needed someone to practice with, so that's why he thought of me.
Just when he finishes one of these stack piles, we're like, okay, Wilt is back on his adventure, but the old man reveals that that's only 1/100th of the job, and the entire field needs to be fixed. We know Wilt, and he definitely stays to do that. Meanwhile, the Foster's bus makes a pit stop at the family's house that had the little cute imaginary friend, and they learn that Wilt has actually been there. They finally get their first logical hint as to where he could be. But you know what? They probably think he is off already on the train, so they head where the train is going to head. Meanwhile, Wilt is still at the farmer's place. The farmer's nice enough to give him his tractor to allow him to go on the journey on his own. And Wilt is going through this little montage of night and day as he drives this tractor through the open road. Soon enough, people start to ask them. Soon enough, he starts to see that people's lawns aren't trimmed, so he actually goes to every house in the suburbs until he trims them all.
There! That's better. Now, if I can get back to the road, I can still make it on time.
I don't want to get too psychological, but it definitely rings as this character being the kind of guy who feels so insecure about solving his own needs that he can only care for other people's needs. It's so relatable, but also so dark, because it's like he's actively depriving himself of what he really needs. And that's just an objectively unhealthy thing. And although he's really sweet and caring, you know, like this is his biggest character flaw, leading to most of the consequences in this. We finally get a flashback as he's on this tractor trip to when he had both of his eyes and had his creator. We see a glimpse of Jordan, who is a basketball player that's not quite tall enough. Wilt is friendly and caring, and his height is super beneficial to Michael's basketball skills. He recalls the day that Michael was cornered by a bunch of kids in the neighborhood that bullied him, and the two found a bond in sticking up for each other through basketball. Meanwhile, Wilt's still on the tractor on his way, getting depressed at everything he sees. This poor guy. Frankie is already fed up with everybody on the bus singing and excited to find Wilt, when really this is like a stressful mission.
Watch the road rage.
Mac gets it though, because he's the straight man character. Wilt is about to head back to the road until he sees a truck break down, and of course he cannot deny this. He goes to the truck to help this moving company who had seemed to drop all of their belongings on the road. Luckily, this does well for him as they offer him a ride where they're going. I'm not sure, Wilt, if you know this is the correct way, because you could be kind of naive sometimes, but I guess it's progress. The truck stops to a bunch of cops, and it turns out everything in this van was stolen, so he did the wrong thing. Everybody is worn out and tired from trying to find Wilt and missing every opportunity they can. They finally get out of a hotel that they slept at overnight to continue their journey when they find the three robbers trying to take Foster's bus. Luckily, they have insight onto where Wilt is, and it finally comes out of them when Eduardo picks up the Foster's bus and shakes it. They finally figure out where Wilt is.
You're not going to believe this. I know where Wilt is!
We cut to prison, and a bunch of people are talking about everything they did wrong. And listen to this guy's story.
Did she love that puppy? Then one day, she made me real mad. So I took him back.
Wilt has a little monologue about his goals and aspirations, and his emotional stories touches all of the prisoners. And we finally hear about the negative side of Wilt. He talks about how he crushed his creator's dreams. But before we can hear about it, we cut back to the imaginary friends trying to get him. They show up to the police station, expecting him to be there, but it turns out that he's gone. Even the judge speaks super highly of him, that he's a sweet and caring person, and of course they all know that.
Yes, that imaginary friend. Well, he was just that, a friend. A true friend. A friend to me and every man, woman, and child on that jury. We'd heard of him and thought he was only a legend. But he's real, all right. Oh, yes, he's real.
It's so cute that all of his positive energy that he's been giving to other people does kind of help him along his journey, even though he ended up in prison. He talks about all the grass that he cleaned up, and it's really cute. Nina finally has a breakthrough. She's like, if we could figure out who the creator is, we can get to them, and we will definitely find Wilt, which is 100% the right thing to do. And this is a really sweet part because we get a little bit more insight as to how imaginary friends are created. You know, this wasn't 100% necessary, but I like that it comes up only in this two-part special to really shine a light on this moment. It's clear through Nina's backstory that she was a little small girl, so she wanted a big, frightening monster to defend her, and that is how she imagined Eduardo. Therefore, Wilt must have had something similar.
So, we need to figure out what kind of child needed an imaginary friend like Wilt, and what kind of a person that child grew up to be.
He's tall, he's friendly, so maybe his creator was similar. Like maybe he was having struggles himself, and they have the perfect option. It's this guy in Japan. Jordan Michaels. They head off on a plane to Japan, and we don't see them again. Meanwhile, Wilt seems to be getting closer and closer to his goal, although we are still unclear of what that is. We finally understand who is at the other end of this phone call after a lot of scenes. Remember the phone call when Wilt was about to leave Foster's and Bloo came up in the middle of the night? Yeah, that's the one we're referring to. Wilt is here to showdown with somebody, and the scoreboard is there. This is like an old friend that is some connection to it. Runs into this imaginary friend that's kind of shaped like a basketball but hidden in this dark shadow. And it turns out this is somebody from the past that we've yet to figure out about.
Oh wait, that's right. Your little creator has gone away and left you all alone.
And this is the best part of the entire special. So it turns out that Wilt is here to seek revenge from this game that Wilt lost with his creator. He believes his creator left him because he lost this game with this particular person, so this means a lot to him to come back and actually prove a point. The really cool part is while he's facing off against the giant basketball person, which by the way is even taller than he is, and given the fact that that comes up a lot in the series of how tall he is, this is a big deal. It cuts between what happened way back when his creator was with him to right now. We see the scoreboard back then, we see the scoreboard now, and we get a peek to his friend Jordan. I called him Michael earlier, but it's Jordan, Michael Jordan. Wonder where the connection is. Just assume I'm going with that. It's finally revealed that the reason Wilt lost this game is in this really catastrophic moment when him and Jordan were facing off against this guy. Wilt chose to save his creator over making the basketball point, losing the game, and even breaking his eye. Oh my god, there's even backstory as to how he got this way. That's adorable. Wilt is ashamed and upset because he let his creator down, and he even sees his creator so disappointed. In the end, Wilt loses once again to this imaginary friend, and all seems lost. He's so sad about it, and we feel terrible, especially since it took him so long to open up about what really happened, not only to us, but people in the show. Surprise, Jordan Michael, I'm gonna keep messing this up, helps Wilt up. It's his original creator, and he is a superstar basketball player now, which means so much to Wilt because clearly he has put so much of his basketball and passions into his creator. And we find out that Wilt must have been so ashamed that he lost that game that he never saw him again. Michael clears up that he's missed Wilt just as much as Wilt's missed him. Well, you know what, Michael? Why couldn't you have just showed up at Foster's? You know, that could have helped. Bloo comes in with his explanation of how they got to where they needed to go, and we finally hear about everything that went on behind the scenes, which could have been added, but wasn't.
Here we are. And don't worry, he doesn't know about your life of crime.
They went to Japan, apparently, finally met his creator, but Wilt wasn't there. But when Michael found out Wilt was missing, he was willing to take them all back to where he is now. Finally, everybody is reunited at this basketball court. I wish I knew where this basketball court was, because it just seems so vague. Finally, on the plane back, everything is resolved, and Wilt is reunited with his creator, and all of Foster's gets to relax as they're taken back. It's cool that the main characters took a kind of a back seat to this. You know, like normally we would hear about Bloo or Mac, but like this is really what it's about. It's Wilt. His creator wants him to come live at the mansion with him, but he's like, wait, you don't want to because obviously you want to be at Foster's with your friends. And Wilt admits that no, it's not because of that. It's because he wants to be adopted and help somebody else the way he helped Michael one day. And this is a really sweet and genuine moment because it's like the one selfless thing he really does that matters so much.
But I really wanted you to see my mansion. I can come visit your mansion whenever you want. I would love to. Whenever I want. Of course, anything.
It's just goal after goal. Wilt seems sweeter and sweeter, and the more he puts out into the world, the more he gets back. And this journey wasn't really negative at all. It just seems like he was emotionally fulfilling so many people on their way. And then we finally get to the end where everybody is saying goodbye to their original creators, and it's actually really sad. And Nina gives Frankie one last ticket. I love that bit. It's really funny.
Huh? But what if no little kid wants me?
Are you kidding? A big, strong, tough guy like you? You'll be adopted in a week.
And Wilt gets extra time with his creator as they play basketball. Turns out Wilt's even better than the superstar player. Finally, the credits go up and we are fulfilled. I definitely think this was a really good special. I wish it was even broken into 3 parts. Like, this could have been a good movie on its own as well. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends just has such impressive storytelling, not only with its characters' depth, but its locations, like everything that happens in it. Every plot point seems to bridge after one another as it gets deeper into understanding the characters, understanding what's going on, and always resolving in a natural way. It's considered a film, but it definitely is a made-for-TV film, which is kind of annoying. It was actually released on Thanksgiving Day on November 2006. Really good time to play it, but I definitely think it was worth a lot more than that. Apparently the background designer won an Individual Achievement Emmy for his role in this episode, because the locations in this are gorgeous, I must say. With all the extra characters, there's somehow, and they're in it just enough to not overshadow the already current characters. It's revealed that Wilt's at least 31 years old, because Foul Larry mentions that it's been 30 years since he whooped his behind. This was also the last episode produced that year. The story managed to be like Goodwill Hunting, but also its own original thing, which is so impressive because that's, we always worry about making something super derivative, but they definitely did a great job here. Craig McCracken strikes again, guys. This is such a good thing. I can't imagine. I definitely think if you haven't seen this in a while, you should watch it again. Like, this is so moving. Wilt and his whole adventure with Foster's running on after him is just such a good plot. The creator and imaginary friend dynamic could have worked in any scenario, but using it for this specific purpose to have this greater issue with Wilt, there was just so many ways it could have been done wrong. Like, they could have broken it up incorrectly, in like one event happening in one episode, another happening in the other, but they really found a way to weave everything together and make it a super satisfying conclusion, especially for being halfway in the middle of this series. Like, they didn't have to be that good. I mean, other shows and 2-part specials haven't been as good as this. So I definitely applaud Goodwill Hunting. Please watch it. It is amazing. Until next time, everybody, my name's Johnny2000, so if you want to see your nostalgic content, come on down and subscribe.